good to see you, Stuart.
Good to see you, David. And it's a morning session, a little different.
I know. I'm a little thrown off by it. It's throwing up all my body rhythms. I don't know what to do, but before we get started on our substance for today, I have a few things I wanted to note. And, a long time ago, Stu, I have mentioned to you how anyone who samples ice cream in an ice cream store should be executed.
Ice cream what?
Ice cream in an ice cream store. They ask for a sample.
Oh, that.
Can I try that vanilla?
Oh, I know.
They should be executed, and they should be thrown out of the store. And if I was the owner, I would do the same, because all they do is delay people. Well, I have something even worse for you today. I was getting a double espresso after lunch. Of course I was. Don't make fun of the Italian people's drink.
I'm not.
We've been mocked enough by the white.
I just get into this thing about espresso versus espresso and the way people here treat it in a, I think, kind of a...
They get a little pretentious.
I do.
Well, wait till you hear this. Okay, so this woman is in front of me, and she's nothing extraordinarily to look at. And she gets into the line, and she starts ordering her drink. I want an Americano, but I only want a splash of this, a splash of cheese, a splash of that. What kind of coffee are you using? This long...
Okay. I better not say that word.
So she finally makes her order, which was taking forever, and then she pays, and she looks at her cost, and then looks at how come mine is so much more than what it says on the board? And they're like, well, because you ordered decaf, and we charge $1 more for decaf. She then moves over while the barista is making the coffee, Stew. And the barista does this poor, tattoo, nose piercing, probably going to like art school or whatever. She's making this thing, and she's like, oh, no, not too much water. Oh, no.
Oh, ban the bitch.
Then the woman, they were going back and forth. No. Oh, I need a splash of that. No, a splash more, a splash. No. They finally get to the end of this whole process. And then the barista gives it to her, and she takes a few sips, and then she's like, I don't like the cup this is in. I want the smaller cup.
Out. He doesn't have the authority, or she, to say
that. It was a barista she. So this poor little barista she throws out the coffee, doesn't even transfer it, because I assume she was frustrated.
Yes.
And then remakes the whole thing. This whole process continued again. Oh, I need a little more.
Were you just behind this woman?
Yes.
Oh. I'm surprised you didn't.
I was ready. If I was the store owner, I would have taken the coffee, thrown it in her face,
and asked her to leave.
Get the fuck out.
Yes.
What kind of person does this?
Oh, pretentious, worthless woman.
And I mean, it's coffee. Let's get over yourself. Although I will say, I do enjoy my espresso. And that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, I know. But there are the X and the whole thing.
Now, the last time I lamented how I didn't get any comments from people, but I did get one recently from the Peanut Gallery about something I said about the people on Fox News, Stu. This was an earlier one. It wasn't last week's, the week before. I forgot the exact context, but I referred to the people on Fox News as retards.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this individual is a special needs occupational therapist.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Her mantra is Helen Keller is her hero. And
nothing wrong with that.
She's nothing wrong with it at all, although I do like to make fun of people. What can I say?
But hero worship of Helen.
She was very offended that I used the R word, as she called it. And so I said to her, as she knows, I said, and do you know who you're talking to? You're talking to me. I said, I don't do woke. A matter of fact, as I mentioned to you earlier, this podcast is like Florida. It's where woke comes to die.
Now, so clever.
I'm a sneaky little bitch.
Oh, you are clever. I'm not sure that exactly characterizes me, but nonetheless, it's very clever and it's humorous.
Oh, I think you have a sharp mind, Stu, unlike our former president.
But on the woke business, I mean, I'm not sure that characterizes me as the way I'd characterize what we are. But we do. It's close. It's close. I just love the characterization.
But do you really think, Stu, I was going to ask your opinion, we should probably avoid using the R word again so as not to offend people?
No, I suggest you do what you feel is right at the moment.
Oh my, you might get a complaint soon yourself, Stu. You might. Some people told me I was undermining my brand, aka my daughter and one of her friends, and by using terminology like this, and I could get my point across.
Oh God, if they know you at all, they've probably felt you were ruining the brand a long time ago.
Thank you.
I don't even think that's true, but I don't think this would be the first time.
I allow for the youthful exuberance and how should we put it? They want to be nice. I've given up on that. But anyway, duly noted. Fox News, though, maybe we won't call them the R word, but we will call them slathering, sycophantic losers who every time Trump poops, they applaud him, and they do not provide objective journalism, with the exception of Brent Baer.
Yeah, see, I would say the word retard, I don't have a problem with that at times, but I don't think it's appropriate as much as sycophantic and the like.
Yeah. They're a ridiculous group of people, and they complain about the mainstream media, yet they're no better in the way they defend and...
I think worse, actually.
Yeah, they defend the indefensible. And as a matter of fact, like we didn't discuss this, but the ridiculous Jeanine Pirro has been as a U.S. attorney. She has been a prosecutor for 20 years. She was involved in a scandal. Her husband went to jail. He's pardoned. I mean, she's disgusting. Just her personality. What the hell does she know? She ran for office in
Westchester.
Yeah. She ran against Hillary Clinton and was a disaster, had to drop out of the race. I don't think someone like that belongs in the U.S. Attorney's office. She can sit on Fox News with their Van Cleef necklaces and Botox and boob jobs and all the rest of it. She does not belong as a U.S. attorney. And that's another example.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not.
But, I mean, like her husband, who was a dirtbag, we're going to talk about a little topic that Stu's interested in. Well, we'll just call this segment Dirty Old Male.
Look, I noticed in recent days that there are these two old white boys who have similar situations in one or two respects, and I thought I'd just bring them up and see whether it provides any humor or any legal wonderment or whatever. David Geffen, white, 82-year-old music mogul. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. Big-time record guy, co-founded Asylum Records, co-founded DreamWorks Records, net worth about $8.7 billion. He has filed for divorce in California from his 32-year-old husband, David Armstrong, a 32-year-old black dancer. He cited the old phrase, irreconcilable differences. The marriage has lasted less than 2 years. Golly gee, what a surprise.
It's dawned as you tell me this.
It's just a 50-year-old difference in age.
I thought love was timeless.
Geffen's money comes largely from stock and real property bought before the marriage. That's important as a legal matter. So that would be called separate, not community property under California law. And he would not automatically share upon that stuff upon the end of the marriage. California law also requires, and I'm just presuming it's California, that's where he is.
Yeah, it's California.
But it also requires divorce petitioners to pay spousal support for half the length of the marriage, meaning that unless Geffen provides otherwise, Armstrong would get payments for 1 year of some size. And I think he'd get a good payday, 1 year of spousal support the way they've been living, I'm sure, a good payday. But I guess it's hard for me to have seen that would be a lasting romance. That's all I get. Now, the other one, Bill Belichick. He's 73 years old. Most of you probably know the name. Most of you probably know what he's about. Long and extremely successful career as an NFL coach, particularly with the Patriots, the New England Patriots. Now, he's earned over $200 million with his Patriots career. I'm not suggesting anything wrong with that. That boy is brilliant and one of the best of all time, it seems to me. Net worth is estimated around $70 million. Now he's the head coach for University of North Carolina, which is an odd step, some would feel. Perhaps no other NFL team made him a suitable offer. Don't know. Married once, 3 kids. Dated a very good-looking lady. I repeat, very good-looking lady named Linda Holliday for 16 years. She's 62 years old, so that relation relationship failed at the end of 2023. Seems to me it's been failing for a while. And then up pops Jordan. No, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I like the pronunciation Jordan. Jordan Hudson. Now, that's her name. She's a 24-year-old from Maine. That's his new flame. 49-50-year difference. That's why I'm coming up with a Geffen Belichick link. He met her on a plane, I read. Others think it may have been an online connection. And Belichick is saying that Jordan is handling non-baseball business matters for him and that he is happy. I believe him, that that's the way he would segregate things. She's when you hear her or see her, and you read about her, she's an aggressive, sultry sort who shut down a media interview when a question was raised about their relationship. And that's why I'm thinking that the online connection may be in there, in the truthful category, but I don't know.
You say online, they met online as a dating thing?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
Or was it a little more seemingly like she's basically a hooker?
Oh, I wasn't. Well, I don't know. I don't think that's impossible. But I have read that he met her on a plane, and that. So I'm just.
I wonder if they had. She's a high altitude hooker then.
Oh no, I'm not calling her that. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying it's unclear to me how this thing began. Now, my question is, where will this go? Will the tenure of the Geffen marriage foretell a limited length of the Jordan relationship? And by the way, common law marriages are not recognized in either Massachusetts or North Carolina, which could, that can rear its head sometimes, but not in this case. That's what I've got to say about this.
So good to know, Stu.
I know I give only important matters in this podcast.
Now, why does this interest you so much? Are you planning on picking up some trollop at a hooker? And
no.
Because let's face it, these young people are with these very wealthy men. Bill Belichick, is that how you pronounce it?
Belichick, yeah.
Belichick. He's fine, but he's a big fat thing. He's not going to attract some hot young girl unless he has something to bring to the table, which is money.
Well, let me just postulate this. His time with the good-looking holiday woman whom you'll see all over the place, and she's from a more society-like set Florida thing.
She wasn't doing the kind of things that...
Well, no. I'm guessing it just wore off over time. They had a long relationship. And the idea of having someone who's aggressive and young at taking care of what he doesn't want to take care of, some business matters, may be something. You're smiling at me, but I say he may have found that interesting. Now, are there other sides to their relationship? I just don't know. But I don't think it's inconceivable that he wants a flack kind of person. Just a PR kind of, just get things out of my way. Now, okay, you can scandalize the thing.
Okay, Stu, let's get serious. Who's going to entrust a 24-year-old for your important business affairs? This woman is giving him the best head he's had here. Do you really think the society woman was taking care of his needs? She was putting powder on her nose and going to a polo match. This 24-year-old is doing all kinds of shit. And that old guy probably can't even handle it.
Look, I think your position is compelling.
And as far as David Geffen is concerned,
yes.
What a cliche. What a cliche. You hire your dancer or whatever, some dancer who's 32 years old, has no money whatsoever, and you're worth billions, and you get this guy, and he's in your house buying Rolexes. Right. And he's like, my black card's through the roof because of you.
But that, incidentally, would increase the size of his 1-year payment, wouldn't it all?
Perhaps.
The size of the...
Listen, these people are so stupid, it makes me sick. Why do you have to marry them? Just fuck them on the side. That's all I say.
Thank you for that input as a counselor, a family counselor.
That's where it's one of my many expertise. But speaking of family counseling, Stu, if I was a family counselor in the Biden family, Stu, I would have advised that doddering plagiarist moron when he was thinking about running for a second term that you probably shouldn't do so when you're dying of cancer and you've already done a shitty enough job as president. Now, this week, as we all know, the Biden family, or the Biden personal office, announced that he had stage 4 cancer, prostate cancer, that has spread to his bones. They said this is the first time they knew about this.
Another report I read said he got one in 2014, but there were no follow-ups.
Mm-hmm. Well, Stu, we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, they're saying they're treating this with hormones and to reduce his production of testosterone, which might explain maybe we had the first female president without even realizing it because he has no testosterone left, which might explain why he was one of the worst presidents we've had on my lifetime. Now, they claim that this is going to help and he could live for another 10 years, although that seems highly doubtful.
Yes.
Stage 4. He can
in the
live,
bones?
Yeah. Now, and some with remarkable magnanimity, our President Trump wished him well, didn't say a word of negativity, which I find surprising because even I, the minute I heard this, was like, oh, this is bullshit. This is a distraction, Stu. This is a distraction because it is. Recently, this week, there was a book that has come in.
Yeah, I read it.
Jay Clapper of CNN, an Axios reporter. Alex Thompson. And they interviewed over 200 people about Biden, his health issues, and his presidency between 2022 and 2024.
Wow.
Tapper has been heavily criticized because he was an unapologetic defender of Biden, yet now he's coming out with a book basically proving, what anyone knew who had any sense and didn't buy into this crap, that he didn't have a stutter that inhabited his ability to communicate. He was basically a doddering old man. Now, in the book, they recount his physical and mental decline, although I would argue, Stu, he never had the mental capacity.
I know, the Syracuse law. I know the whole.
Bottom of his class, undistinguished law school, plagiarist who acted like he was a scholar. Give me a break. Now, in the book, they recount how Biden didn't recognize longtime acquaintances, including the rather dashing George Clooney, who was one of his apologists until recently, and his own national security advisor, Jake Sullivan.
But Clooney did come out, didn't he?
Later, after
the
debate. Too little, too late, George.
Okay.
And then also there were discussions amongst his inner circle that he'd need a wheelchair during his second term because they were concerned because he fell and he couldn't walk. Perhaps the cancer that had spread to his bone may have caused some immobility, even though, according to Biden and Dr. Jill, they didn't really find out about this until May.
Dr. Jill.
We'll get to her worthless presence. We also know that the White House they claim that he suppressed all the information about his health, even from close advisors, and they limited his interactions with his own family and his friends and whatever. Now,
it's making it like a puppet.
Well, he certainly seems as such. And then, they also argue that this Biden's disastrous decision to run for a second term directly led to the election of Trump, which is
absolutely.
If they had put up a real candidate.
Agreed.
I don't know what would have happened, but Kamala Harris, she was a disaster, a moron.
She was a respectable, thoughtful candidate who was at least middle of the road, not lefty, but at least middle of the road, I say, and who took a position on the border, who would have taken a strong position on the border, was going to get elected. I think that's self-evident.
Well,
pisses me off.
It really is annoying, and it's offensive that they went through this and they damaged the country. Not to mention Biden's policy seriously damaged the country.
Can I give you one sad observation? I don't feel as sorry for him in his cancerous state as I ordinarily would because of his giving the pardon to his son after so many times saying it won't happen. Everybody else says I was being naive. Yes, I believed he was not going to do it. And I just feel there's some karma here.
Stu, if the karma was limited to the pardon of his son, that's the tip of the iceberg. He damaged this country. He was a liar. He said he wasn't going to run for a first term or a second term, as suggested it. He obviously wasn't healthy enough to carry out his functions. He was not capable of doing so. Now, another thing that David Plouffe has openly said, who was a Paris campaign advisor for her presidential campaign, as well as a Obama affiliate, he blamed this, and he directly said, it's all Biden. He totally fucked us. Duh, David. You know, Biden came out recently, and he's been trying to rehabilitate his presidency. Went on The View, of all things, and it once again suggested that if he had run for re-election, he would have won. Now, this is before the diagnosis of his prostate cancer came out, so he was still on to this lack of delusion. Now, when Robert Hur, the special prosecutor, in 2024, at the beginning of February, described Biden as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. And due to Biden's failing memory, he didn't think a jury would prosecute him for his misuse of classified information. He just dropped the charges. The liberals piled on this guy. Oh, he's a hack. This was gratuitous. It was political, blah, 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 including Jake Tapper. Now, of course, after all of this, obviously, Robert Hur was being generous when he said he had a poor memory. That's the tip of the iceberg. We had this cancer announcement, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe this. I think he had cancer while he was president. Biden did not have one of those shitty Obamacare health plans that poor people have to deal with and provide no coverage and pay a lot of money. He had top-of-the-line medical care. He was the president. He was a senator.
No way he wasn't getting tested.
This was on top of it. They were treating him for prostate cancer for a long time, and a lot of doctors, including Ezekiel Emanuel, hardly a conservative, one of the architects of Obamacare, may I add, said this precisely. I don't believe anything Ezekiel Emanuel says, but I do believe this. Biden, once again, and his deliciously annoying wife, Dr. Jill, who is no doctor because she has a degree in education. It's a worthless degree. It is for people with low IQs. She wanted to be on the cover of Vogue. She liked wearing fancy designer dresses. She loved the whole First Lady thing, and she didn't step in and put an end to this nonsense. And he, of course, said, so arrogant, stubborn, stupid, terrible man. And I don't have sympathy either, Stu. Fuck him. You know, there's a lot of nice people who get cancer and die, and they don't carry on like this drama, this egomania. He's a terrible person. I never liked him. And, you know, I'm sorry he's ill, but fuck him.
Well, I guess that about
do you think I'm going to
and I don't think you're done with him. I think you got to let him rest for a while. I mean, in a couple of future things, let him rest you.
I think I'm done for now.
All right. So now I'll start with a confession. I'm fascinated by prisons. I've taught in a prison, have performed in a number of maximum security prisons, told stories about a couple of experiences on earlier podcasts. Well, that's backdrop. A week ago or so, 10 violent criminals escaped from the New Orleans Parish Jail. A parish is like a county in Louisiana, for those who didn't know. 10 of them. The escape was not noticed until the following morning. I'd call that quaint security. Inside assistants were suspected. You think? And they've already got a guy now who said, and this is an interesting situation, a worker there who said the bad guys, told him they would kill him if he didn't stop the water from flowing through the toilet, because they pulled the toilet away from the wall and got out through that hole. And his position is, I think he's on leave or has been suspended for now. Not sure whether there are criminal charges that will be pending. But if it's true that his life was being threatened, he should have gone to the cops and resisted. I think you need to ask that. And also there are others they're looking at who might have been involved with this inside job. But what's most interesting to me is that this was the largest, as far as I can tell, it was the largest jailbreak in U.S. history. Now, there are some that are more popular. The Anglin brothers from Alcatraz, the two of them, they get more hype, and Alcatraz is a fascinating location. But that was only 3 guys in total, and none were ever found. Then there's the 2 guys, the murderers who escaped from Clinton prison. That's upstate New York, way upstate. And they were there for a long time because of murders, at least one of them, but lifetimers. They got out with the assistance of a female prison worker. Oh, God, as I think about her looks. A female prison worker looking for affection. Remember that woman?
Yes, they actually did a show.
Yes, they did.
I think it was Netflix about it. It was Patricia Arquette who played, I think that's who.
The woman next to it.
Yeah, someone like that. Well, some actress like that. Yeah, and it was unseemly.
Oh, I didn't want to see it. One guy died in a shootout with the police. The other's back in prison. Took a lot of work to find these guys because they were adept at hiding out. Now, I suspect that all of the New Orleans boys will be caught. 4 are back in jail and 6 more on the outside. They're not going to have a lot of money or access to means of getting the hell out of there. I suspect they'll be caught. And now, here's a prediction. They're going to be sent to another facility. Now, I'm familiar with this other facility called Angola. I'm sure some of you will be familiar as well by what you see on TV. It's a maximum security place. These guys are going to regret it if they get there. I've read about Angola, seen documentaries about it. 18,000 acres, 28 square miles, surrounded by swamp on 3 sides, Mississippi River on the 4th, 6,300 prisoners there. Dogs patrol the perimeter, and other dogs will go out on the hunt if some guys manage to get past the first series of fences. Largest max facility in the U.S. Over 90% of the prisoners there die there, not because of abuse, but because they've got life sentences. These are bad dudes, and I predict these guys are going to find their match.
You should wipe the smirk across your face.
Oh, I think it is funny to some degree. And by the way, when they left, by the hole that they used to get out, they had the letters in caps. Oh, too easy. T-O, they spelled it. Too easy. LOL. Lots of liars.
Obviously products of the Democrat Party's public system.
I just say Louisiana education, maybe generally. Okay. Now on the home front, because there's a tenuous link I'm making here to the home front, we've got Rikers Island in the East River just off the Bronx, 413 acres. In 2019, the city council voted to close Rikers in favor of 4 new, smaller, kinder, gentler jails in the boroughs. And our then Mayor de Blasio, I know this is going to, I know this will touch a nerve. He called this, quote, the era of mass incarceration is over. Now, that has been a very typical kind of response from very left-leaning folks, and certainly within the black community. And I say that's not the underlying problem, and a lot of minorities are in jail. I say crimes have been committed. Now, none of those jails, those new jails, the kinder, gentler jails, as I'm putting it, are under construction. And they wanted to close Rikers by 2026. That ain't going to happen. A federal manager has been appointed, ordered. I'm not sure if he's been appointed. He's been ordered by a federal court, to reform the prison. These are bad dudes in there, and they're tough to control. And when you have no support for the officers, which seems to be the case here in New York City, no support for the police, and woke stuff won't do it. You need strict discipline, and you need support of the officers, and you can't make the officers feel as if they're going to be the first to be prosecuted. You got bad dudes. So I don't see Rikers closing in the near future. That's my view. And I don't see some of those kind of gentler places. I don't see them getting constructed.
Well, once again, New York residents, head to Park Slope, head to the townhouse of former Mayor Bill de Blasio and pee on his lawn or poop whether you feel is big. Because this whole thing about the era of mass incarceration, he still has not paid back the $300,000 or so, as far as I know, that he used for using the police to transport him.
And his wife's thing, that thing that never got fully investigated. And
over $1 million on that disappeared on a mental health initiative.
And they said the only thing they've said is we don't have enough receipts. What? No, why wasn't that investigated and prosecuted?
I don't know. We need to ask Tish James, one of my favorites.
Oh, well, she would have if she had a mind to, if she wanted to, I suppose.
But of course she didn't, because she wasn't going to go after one of her black lesbian friends. And let's face it, Tish makes Rosie O'Donnell book lipstick lesbian.
Is this an announcement, or is this self-evident?
This is just like a theory.
A theory, okay.
It's like my theory about Mayor Adams, another loser and piece of shit, who's screwing trans hookers in the nightclubs at 3 a.m. because there's something wrong with him. And, let's get back to now. I'm going to just, on June 25th, there's going to be a Democrat, 24th, there's going to be a Democrat Party primary in New York City. And let's face it, it's probably going to, whoever wins that is probably going to become the mayor, unless something miraculous happens. So anyone who lives in New York, even if you want to be, you don't like the Democrats, I certainly don't. I register myself as a Democrat so that I can vote in these primaries and actually have some impact.
Me too.
Right.
I'm a me too there. That's what I've done.
Oh, Stu, all those feminists are going to love you now. Could you just call yourself a me too?
Oh,
I'm going to get your pussy.
I did it years ago. I don't know if I was first or second in this change, but I certainly couldn't. I couldn't look for a law and order-ish, disciplined kind of person on the Democratic side.
Well, there's a number of races coming up: the mayor, public advocate, controller, borough president, and city council. Okay. And you get to choose, it's ranked voting, so you get to choose 5 candidates. Now, in the mayor's race, there are 11 candidates. I don't even think I could come up with 5 for some of the collection of freaks and losers who are on this list. And also, I will know there's a number of these far left progressives on it who I will not rank at all.
Yes.
Because they are repulsive. And unfortunately, the person leading this campaign, at least according to the media, and there hasn't really been a lot of fanfare so far, even though the primary is a month away.
Not on TV. I watch too much TV.
So maybe that's the reason why. Well, Andrew Cuomo is looking to make a comeback and be the New York City mayor. And at first, I was kind of buying into it. Well, maybe he'd be better because at least he has a take-charge personality, and that's what the city needs. But let's go into his record as governor. He signed into law the disastrous bail reform that let 10 criminals out of jail, like those 10 criminals you just discussed who escaped from prison. By the way, you're interested in prison stuff, Stu? It's interesting. Ew. It's going to take me a while to analyze. Now, second of all, there was the whole Tappan Zee.
I'm trying to get back into prisons to perform there, both at Sing Sing and the Bedford facility.
I want to be there for this.
You can't just pop in.
I'm coming. I personally enjoy a good prison movie myself. I'm into it, so I can relate to it as well.
First, I have to get the gig. That's not easy.
Maybe, something I think what it is with me is I feel my whole life I've been imprisoned and oppressed. So being in a prison is like the ultimate fear, yet fascination all at the same time.
Oh.
But anyway, remember the whole controversy when that piece of shit renamed the Tappan Zee Bridge?
Yes.
After
I hate that.
His father, who gave New York one of the lowest bond ratings in the country and a fiscal and unemployment that surpassed anywhere else. He was a disaster.
There was no public desire for that. This was done and some shoddy little piece of it was attached to some bill.
And he pissed off the people in the neighborhood area because it was like indigenous people, and they wanted it named after one of their people. Huh. And then we have the issues with the construction because the bridge was reconstructed because it was damaged, yet it was shoddily done. 61 of the 192 acre pipes which connect the bridge are supposedly were done properly. So because of Andrew, that bridge could collapse and it needs to be repaired after it was repaired, an initiative he led. And then, of course, the COVID lockdowns. Now, they were a disaster. They were inappropriate. They went too long. He got drunk with power and ego. He did a disaster. New York had some of the highest deaths per capita. One of the reasons is the nursing home scandal, where him and his administration moved recovering COVID patients back into nursing homes, caused mass deaths, killed your grandparents, And then they tried to cover it up. And then finally, at the end of all this, he wrote a book, like in April or May, about how to handle a pandemic, even though he had handled it disastrously, and it was no near close to end. And he ultimately had to drop out of office because of a sex scandal that was investigated by Tish James. And I'm also find it highly disturbing that he has his nipples pierced, which we've discussed before. Don't act surprised. I've told you this before. You have the same reaction. Look at the cover of the New York Post.
No, I am surprised because my memory always fails me that I don't remember you saying that.
Well, I've said it before. And Stu, your memory doesn't fail you anywhere near the amount that it fails Joe Biden. Now, so, Cuomo has his pluses. I won't deny it.
Do you think we could ask? Do you think that would be proper to ask?
We can. Let's go to the next candidate for him. Excuse me, are you still passing?
You ask him to disrobe, at least the top part.
Are you still at the nipple planks on Andy? I'm sure if he actually did become mayor with his vindictive streak, God knows what could happen. Now, another candidate who's also, I think Cuomo's the leading, but this is one of the leading progressives. Yep. A 33-year-old Queen Assemblyman and a Democrat socialist.
Yep.
He is very popular. He was endorsed by Jamal Bowman, who was thrown out of Congress for his anti-Semitic commentaries and his bizarre behavior of pulling a fire alarm and pretending he didn't to disrupt a vote. This is Zolfran Mamdani. Is that how you pronounce it?
Not clear. Use your best guess.
We'll just call him Zolfram.
Or Mammy.
He's obviously not someone we would rank. He's unacceptable. But not only is that, I think he's even got Stu Stander up.
The primary is coming up and he is running. Recently, there were resolutions proposed in the New York State Assembly recognizing the Holocaust and Israeli statehood. Pretty, tepid, tame things that were supported by almost all. Ami chose not to vote for those resolutions. And his PR guy, a Jewish lad no less, said Donnie backs the resolutions but wants to, quote, narrow down, unquote, the number of resolutions he signs. Well, that's an interesting kind of sickening response. And it's the kind of thing a flack would do, just a mouthpiece. Yet because Mondami has also signed resolutions for Neurodiversity Pride Day, Disabilities Awareness Day, Juneteenth, and Korean American Day. And I certainly have nothing against some of those, but he's done all that, and yet he wants to narrow down the number of things he signs. It sounds his priorities are strange. And on 8 October 2023, the day after the Hamas attack on Israel, Mamdani condemned Israel. I think that's strange timing. If you condemn them for ongoing actions in Gaza, there's an argument. But on the day after that attack, ruining the peace, the tameness that existed, that's indefensible. And so what you've got there is an anti-Semitic, anti-cop guy. Because in 2020, he also voiced support for defunding the police. That was during COVID, and that's when all these people defund, when these guys were out there trying to protect us. So an anti-Semitic, anti-cop guy, I don't think you'll find him anywhere on my ranked choice ballot.
He won't be on mine either. And frankly, the rest of them are another hodgepodge.
Yeah, who are you going to vote for, by the way?
I'm going to get to that. I mean, there's a bunch of progressives. We already had a conversation a while back about Brad Lander and what a piece of shit, unethical scumbag he is. And he was a progressive and a phony. I would never vote for him. There's someone called Zelnor Myrie, another wacko, Jessica Ramos, leftist, and they're all unacceptable. Now, Scott Stringer is a progressor, and he is also running. He ran prior to this and had to drop out once again because he was groping and harassing women, and he's back.
And he had a thing about, he used the car service for his wife. He's the one, right?
I don't remember that. But at the end of the day, he does have an extensive record in public service, so maybe that's something to his credit. But I don't think, Handy Andy is bad enough. We don't need this weird, creepy guy, who is gut scandal associated with him. We need someone serious. Now, that said, there's someone running by the name of Whitney Filson, a former hedge fund investor who reminds me kind of the mayor of San Francisco, the Levi Strauss here, because he is looking to be a pragmatist, not really being a radical ideologue, and uses business experience.
Who is it again?
Whitney Filson.
And it's a male.
Yeah. Oh, no, Tilson. Sorry.
Whitney Tilson.
Yeah. So
we'll call him Whit.
Yeah. Whit, I don't know if he has much of a chance to win, but he is someone I would consider ranking. I think I'm going to rank him above Cuomo because I don't want Cuomo involved. I don't want him. We were done with him. He did enough damage. Now, another candidate running is Adrienne Adams, who is the city council speaker, who is considered a moderate still. And the only problem of her is I don't know if she really, well, there's a few. One, she's affiliated with Adams, our current mayor, not related, but affiliated. But she is, I mean, if we don't want a progressive, which we don't, she's someone to consider putting on the list. And I think although I don't think she has the gravitas or personality to be mayor, because I mean, I don't even think I've heard her say a thing, right? So, and then finally, there's someone by the name of Michael Blake, who's also running. He's a former Bronx assemblyman. He worked for Obama. He's from a Jamaican immigrant parents. He attended New York City public schools. He is somewhat progressive, but he doesn't really identify as such. And he also has taken on some pragmatic center-left positions. In light of his experience, his personal background, I don't have such a problem with him, and I think he might be these people have got to be better than a Cuomo retread who was not the most fantastic governor, and he's a shady character, a big ego, and a vindictive motherfucker.
Well, my position will be that I'm going to look at the two others you noted. I'm not sure about Adrienne Adams. I think there are other things I can't come up with right now that are on a very excessive side.
There are two other progressives, by the way, Stu. Deidre Levry, who is a special needs teacher, screw her. She won't call herself a progressive, but she is. And I say, call yourself what you are. And then there's someone by the name of Corinne Fisher, who is a stand-up comedian and author, which would be kind of funny, actually, if she was humorous. I've never seen her act. But she won't label herself either. So I think of these, there's probably 3 or 4 that we would rank. Cuomo, if I even rank him, will be my last choice. I realize this may be futile, but
I would put 1 or 2 of them in advance. If I come to agree with a couple of the you said, some of the alternates, I'd put them before Cuomo. I'm not sure. I still believe Cuomo would be the best of the lot, no matter what he's done. I don't believe in any of these others, but I'd like to look at the credentials a little further of 2 of those that you mentioned, and then I'll look at decision.
Tilson. Yeah, he's it. And then the final side note, Stu. I mean, it's kind of depressing that this is what we're going to end up with. Yes, Andrew Cuomo, who is an unethical piece of shit. Andrew Weiner is making a return.
Yeah.
He's running in our district.
I saw that.
As a councilman.
I saw that.
This is a guy who was appropriately named a wiener because he liked to show his wiener to teenage girls and
online.
Yes. And he went to jail. He did it twice in a row. He made a spectacle of himself. And then he's now making a comeback. Now, I think we don't need another wiener in the city council office.
I'm not sure myself.
There's someone else running. There's a few other people running, but the only one who seems like the moderate is Harvey Epstein, an assemblyman.
Harvey Epstein?
Yeah.
Is that the same name as the
No. You mean Harvey Weinstein?
Weinstein. Okay.
No.
No. I just had the names there.
No. So, but we won't talk about that race. I just make a side note of how comically ridiculous it is that Anthony Weiner, who went to jail for showing his Johnson or Wiener to teenage girls and humiliated himself, destroyed his family, destroyed his career, actually thinks he has a right to return. Skulk away. And by the way, as you see him around, he lives in this neighborhood, that piece of shit.
I won't go into it now, how I saw him at the gym years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. But I will tell you that I will consider his candidacy.
Oh, Stu.
That's what I'm saying.
We
can discuss that later.
You know what? You just want to get his dick pic.
What? 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 No. I'm just telling you that he was aggressive in the Congress, and he's probably gotten treatment, and hopefully he's keeping his other interests at bay. And I want to look at who he's running against, because an aggressive, smart guy, and maybe and legitimate in those other senses.
I cannot believe I'm hearing these words.
Yes, I am. I want to see who else.
You're letting this perverted little creep got to consider. He is not qualified. And truthfully, he was an obnoxious in Congress. He's a big mouth, and he's a progressive.
You need a big mouth sometimes in New York City.
Well, I got a big mouth, and I got a big mouth. I don't want Andrew Weiner.
I got it.
And I hear emphasis on Weiner into any kind of political.
I hear you. I'm just saying I haven't made the decision.
Well, all right, Stu. I'm surprised to hear this, but I guess because he went to prison, he has some glamour. All right. Well,
he paid his dues.
Oh yeah. So did those poor girls who had to look at his little shrunken monkey.
Well, they could be disappointed. They probably weren't, or
apparently
distressed.
It wasn't all that disappointing from the reports. But anyway,
you know more about this than I.
I was astounded. Just like you, I kind of liked his little shtick, but I'm not buying it.
All right,
not falling for these scumbags anymore.
All right.
But at the end of the day, Stu, I think we've said enough for now.
More than
including this episode. We hope you'll tune in on and leave commentary, and thank you, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.